Yeah, today I would like to comment about the idea of African countries borrowing money from people who really don't have this money. I find it, very, disturbing and unwise for us to say that we have people in our economies in our countries, and mostly of them actually who are from these high, Ivy League institutions, whether you talk of the Western world or the from the African continent itself. It is disturbing in such a way that when you look at the Western world and how it has been messed up, how it is bankrupt, you wonder where these guys who say that they are going to the Western capitals, Brussels, France, London, and Washington to borrow money, whether they really do understand it, whether they are reading, the situation in the world in economics. When you listen to people like Robert Kiyosaki, who is the writer of the book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, and you listen to a gentleman called Ray Dalio, who is from a company called Bridgewater Associates. This is the largest hedge fund in the world with around $138 billion. And Ray Dalio himself is worth 160. He's worth $16 billion as a person. And they have been commenting and they have been showing you people like Richard Wolff, the economist, people, a lot of economists have been, warning about what is happening in the Western world. And it is disturbing that, in Africa, we have people who call themselves economists and finance ministers and presidents, and they can't figure these things out. These things even which a baby can figure out. We have seen that Washington printed over $4 trillion during this, COVID pandemic. But when you look at our people, you look at our presidents, you look at our countries, all of them, they went to borrow from the IMF, the so-called COVID relief fund. And what we see that most of the countries are going to election. They are going to the elections period. So I consider this as a bribe which was given to them, because you can see that out of the 4 trillion, because most of the times it is the United States which puts money in the IMF and the World Bank in order to colonize and influence the activities and the policy in the third world countries. So they took some of this money from the IMF and gave our people. You can see other people, they get 4.5 billion, other people go to 1 billion, other people, when you go to the side of Kenya, go to 0.75, 750 million. You go to Uganda, I think around 400 million, and all these other African countries. If you go to the IMF website and you check it out, you will see that all these countries got this money from the IMF. Others 100 million, others, and it is this money which has been printed by the United States. And we see that there is a financial collapse because of this idea. So what I would like to warn our people, especially the African people, do not buy into this, because economics, real economics, not voodoo economics, which most of the African presidents and finance ministers are practicing, tells us that the currency, the dollar, is collapsing. The almighty dollar, the dollar which has been used to defraud the African people and the African resources, to steal the African resources, is collapsing. Is no more a currency. You see, it is no more resilient. It is no more backed by anything. So it is time for us as African people to build a new currency that is backed by our gold, backed by our resources. I wonder why South Africa doesn't have a currency which is backed by gold when it is the largest producer of gold. I wonder why Ghana's currency is not backed up by gold. The rand in South Africa should be backed up by gold. The Ghana cedi in Ghana should be backed up by gold, because these are the two biggest producers of gold in the world. The currency in Zimbabwe should be backed up by the diamonds. Okay, the currency in Botswana should be backed up by these diamonds, not the dollar. It's a collapsing, it's not backed up by anything. The dollar was taken from the gold standard, from being backed up by gold in 1970, 71. We should not capitulate to this. We should not follow this. So it doesn't take much. It doesn't take for you to go and get a PhD in economics. We see, what is happening in the Western capitals. The currency is collapsing because of too much printing. You cannot print and in Washington and send it for us in Africa. We cannot accept this. We should not continue to accept this. So I wanted to briefly comment on this, because if we wanted money, we should print money ourselves. We should go and print money by ourselves. There's no need for us to, to print something that people are warning us that it is useless. Their own economists have warned that. They have warned us. People like Ray Dalio, people like Robert Kiyosaki, people like Richard Wolff. These are economists. People like Dambisa Moyo. They have warned us that this is unsustainable. The thing is collapsing. So that is why you see that it has always collapsed and we have felt the pain. But it is time for us to change our thinking. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. It is time to get a type of leadership and an economic system that is favorable to Africa, that is responsive to Africa. So that is why we say that there is supposed to be a re-engineering. We cannot build our economy on colonial infrastructure that was left behind. The political infrastructure that was left behind in the 1960s and the 1950s and 1940s is the infrastructure which is going on, the political infrastructure, the economic infrastructure. These infrastructures were known and were built to suck out resources from Africa to the IMF, to the World Bank, and then our resources would circulate to all the Western world. So the World Bank, IMF, these are tools, the UN, these are tools that are being used to suck resources out of Africa. And we are saying to the youth of Africa that let us not accept this. Let us renew our mind and understand how the world works. This is how the world works. And it doesn't take, economics is 90%, is 90% common sense. So it doesn't take you to have a PhD degree in economics for you to understand this. For you to, to look at the world and how it is moving and understand this. You do not need a PhD degree for you to understand these things. These are cheap things for us to understand, and we should be easily able to understand them. Thank you very much. My name is Kwame Gonza, and you can reach me anywhere you want, on Facebook, on YouTube. You can just put in Kwame Gonza. Anywhere you want, you can reach me. Thank you very much.